Hi, this is Deborah with a video from TechTalk.com. We've written a tip on this topic, but sometimes it makes more sense to see it live in action. Today we're looking at how you can create both a landscape and a portrait page layout in the same Word document. You might have found that when you're working in the middle of a portrait document, the need for a landscape page. Maybe you have a chart or a table or graph that would just fit better horizontally. Can you have both page layouts in the same document? Sure you can. Let's take a look. For example, in the document you see on the screen, we have the first page that contains text. The next page contains a table that's a bit cramped, and then we go back to text. Let's take a look at how we can make that center page a horizontal or landscape layout. First, in your document, you want to click at the bottom of the page before the page you want to make changes to. On the Layout tab, in the Page Setup section, click on this little tiny drop-down arrow. That brings up the Page Setup window. Now here's where you normally can change your page from portrait to landscape, one or the other, but we're going to just change it in the middle of the document. Right now it's set to portrait. We're going to click on landscape, and the important step down below is we're going to apply it to this point going forward and click OK. So now you can see up above we have a portrait layout and we've gone to a landscape page. Now we can play around with it, make our table the way we want it to fill up the page. But we want to go back to a portrait page from the landscape page above. So again, all we do is click inside of the document at the bottom of the page, go back on the Page Layout tab and Page Setup to the drop-down arrow, and again switch it back to the portrait orientation and apply to this point forward. This is the important step, and click OK. Once again, you'll see the document go back to the portrait page. It's so cool, huh? Now, one thing you'll note, the way this happens is if we turn on commands here, you'll see that Word puts a section break in at the bottom of the page, and again a section break. So you want to stay away from using page breaks yourself and let Word put in the section breaks that are needed. Now let's turn these off again, and I'll show you one last little trick. Since Word has created section breaks, you can change the margins in just parts of your document. For example, if I just want to change the margin in this horizontal or landscape page view, I can go to Page Layouts to my margins, and maybe I want to make them extra narrow because I want to make this page so that I can use a little bit more of it for my chart. You'll note that it kept the margins here on the portrait pages because of the section breaks. If we look at the margins, they didn't go to narrow, they stayed at the 0.7 we had them set up originally. So that's how you create both portrait and landscape pages in the same document. Thanks for listening to this Tech Talk video.